y'all, welcome to Criminally Creative, a channel about my various creative endeavors. Today is Sunday, September 17th, 2023, and this is episode 47. I'm Susan. You can find me on Ravelry as Legal Eagle and on Instagram as Criminally Creative Podcast. Excuse me. If you are new here, I appreciate you checking me out. If you are one of my small cadre of returning viewers, I appreciate you coming back. So, the cough is better, still not totally gone. So, again, I apologize for any coughing. And I will try to edit out any really bad coughing. So, which kind of leads me straight into hearsay. I have been back to the doctor, gotten some meds re-upped. It's slowly getting better. Unfortunately, this is my life since I was about 10 years old. If I get a cold, I get a cough, and it takes forever to go away. Excuse me. And the more I talk, the more it aggravates it. So anyway, like I said, hearsay. It's been almost a month since my last video. I'd hoped to get back a little before this, but it just hasn't happened. When I last recorded, we were getting ready to go to Waco, Texas for the weekend. We did. We had a nice time. As expected, it was hotter than Hades. It was hot, very hot. Now, the nice thing about it is it was not as humid as it is here in North Carolina. So it was hot. You felt the heat, but it's not like here where you walk out and you feel the heat and you immediately start sweating. I didn't sweat when I was out in the heat. When I sweated was when I went into the AC, and with the temperature change, all of a sudden I was sweating. But it was definitely hot. We tried to stay more indoors than out. We were there for the Southwest Association of Turners. My husband is a wood turner, and he had been to the American Association of Wood Turners in Louisville, Kentucky in June, and some friends there told him that the SWAT conference was a lot of fun and really good. So he had a great time. I enjoyed meeting some new people. While I was there, I did visit Needleworks in Coppers Cove, Texas. And I will show you some stuff from there when we get to stashing for retirement. And I also visited Heritage Quilt Barn, which is just outside of Waco. I guess it's technically Waco. There's like a heritage community. I think it's a religious community. It's not Amish, but I think it's just a religious community of some sort. But apparently they have more stuff I didn't have time to go see, but they have like a blacksmith shop and a woodwork shop and a bunch of stuff. I just went to the quilt barn, and then they had a little market right next to it. So I went in there and got a snack and something to drink. But anyway, so we had a good time there. Getting back was a bit of a cluster. We were supposed to fly out of Waco Sunday at 6:30 p.m. to Dallas, and fly out of Dallas to RDU and get back to RDU at like 12:30 a.m. So that late that night. Of course, about an hour before our flight or so was supposed to leave Waco. Apparently, there's only 2 flights out of Waco a day. I don't know that that's 100% accurate, but that's what it seems like. Because our options to fly out were either to leave at like 6 a.m. or 6:30 p.m. Since there was stuff going on for the conference until like lunchtime Sunday, we chose 6:30 p.m. Anyway, there was a storm that came up. So our flight out of Waco was canceled. We were flying American, which of course, you know, Dallas is an American hub. So just about anywhere you fly in Texas is American. We normally do not fly American. So we're not as used to Americans' policies and how they do things. Anyway, so as we're trying to figure out what's going on, we're trying to see if we can get at that point, we had like 3 hours to our flight in Dallas. We're like, well, can we rent a car and get up there and get to our Dallas flight? Because apparently the weather in Dallas was not that bad. It was just where we were. And anyway, so my husband's in line for the car rental. There's 2 car rental. I had rented an Enterprise car on Friday just to tool around to go see things, but I turned it back in. Well, Enterprise was not doing one-way rentals. So there was Avis. Avis was doing one-way rentals, but of course there was a couple people that beat us to the line. Anyway, long story short, maybe not short, long story medium. American had just automatically switched our tickets to 6:30 Monday night, with us getting in, the same flight out of Dallas Monday night and not getting in till like 12:30 a.m. Monday night. Well, we had taken Monday off work, but we had not taken Tuesday off work. So we didn't want to get back at 12:30 a.m. Monday night, basically Tuesday morning. So I'm on the phone with Air American. My husband's in line for the rental car. Finally get the woman on American. I'm like, and at first I was thinking, well, can you add my Dallas flight back? And maybe we're going to drive up there. And then the longer I talked to her, it became apparent time-wise, because my husband was still in line, we were not going to make that. So I'm like, okay, change of plans. Switches to a early Monday morning flight out of Dallas. We're going to rent a car and drive tonight and get to Dallas. So flies out of Dallas, forget the Waco leg. So finally we got up to the Avis counter, and they didn't have any cars left. We were the last one. They didn't have any cars left. They had cars, but they didn't have any cars that weren't reservations. And I was like, well, was there one of those reservations that was maybe supposed to be flying into Waco tonight? Anyway, she got on the phone with her man. It was a young girl, and she wasn't a manager. She got on the phone with her manager, got us a car. We drove to Dallas Sunday night. Meanwhile, I'd been on the Hilton app, finding us a hotel room near the airport. Got up to Dallas, 10:30, 11 o'clock Monday night, slept for a few hours, got up at 4 a.m., went and turned in the rental car, went to the airport. We finally made it home on Monday. Flight, of course, we live about an hour from the Raleigh airport too. So we got home, got to our car. Got to the Raleigh, got to our car, got home. It was probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon when we actually got home. And then I took like a 2-hour nap Monday afternoon because we only got like 4 hours of sleep Sunday night. But anyway, we made it home after that whole fiasco. Fortunately, I was working from home on Tuesday, so I was able to do laundry and stuff in between working. So anyway, that's about it as far as real trips for hearsay. Other than that, it's been work. Work's been a little bit crazy, and it's going to be crazier this next week, maybe into the week after that. I don't know yet. I went to the UNC football game yesterday. We beat Minnesota, which was great. I was supposed to go to the football game last weekend, but I felt like I might be getting a cold, and I had just gotten my new meds for the cough, and it was supposed to rain, and so I decided not to go because I didn't want to be out in the rain and perpetuate my cough. So my father went with my mother instead. My father used to love to go to football games, but lately he's gotten to where he doesn't always want to go, but my mom still likes to go, so I usually go with her. So anyway, that's about it for hearsay. So let's move on to the stitching, or mainly the stitching. I'm not really going to show you any knitting this time. You'll see a little bit of sewing, but anyway, let's move on to verdicts. So the only cross-stitch verdict that I have is I finished March Quaker, which is a pattern by From the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. I am doing all of these, trying to do one a month, and so I finished this at the end of August. This is March. Sorry, let me see if we can get my light a little bit better. So that's not coming directly in there. Let's see, there we go. So I did this on 40 count barefoot needle arts sandy toes, 1/2 with the called for classic colorwork flosses. So I finished that on August 30th. And that is my only stitching verdict. I did make a couple of project bags, which you will see as I go through my whips. So, so let's move on to quarters in session. For knitting, I have worked a little bit on my socks, and I have worked a little bit on my ladybird wrap, but neither are hugely different looking, so I'm just going to wait and show you those when they look more significant. Excuse me, because I have a lot of stitching projects to show you. In addition to working on whips, I kind of went crazy with the new start since I last saw you. Not that I didn't before I last saw you. I think last episode I had like 3 or 4. Well, I've got more than that this time. In the way my brain typically works, since I have decided that next year I'm going to be more restrictive about new starts. Restrictive is not the right word. I'm going to try not to start as many things next year. In my brain, that means I've got to start everything I might possibly want to start this year, so they're all whips next year. Anyway, So first project, you saw some last month. First, this is one of my verdicts. This is a project bag I made with the got Edgar Allan Poe in the library. And of course, I made this because it's perfect for the Haunted Library, which is a pattern by Lola Crow. It was a stitch along last year that started July of 2022, but I just got behind and did not finish it. So I'll put a picture here of what it will look like when it's finished. Excuse me, because I have it in digital pattern. And also a picture of what it looked like the last time I showed it to you. I believe the last time I showed it to you, I had done about half of my Whip Go goal. My Whip Go goals are 10 hours on the project for the month. And so, well, I must have done more than 10 hours just looking at the stitches. So anyway, this is what else I got done since I last showed it to you. Since you last saw it, that's an additional 872 stitches. So I finished up the structure of that bookcase, and I started filling stuff in. So that is the Haunted Library. Oh, I'm doing that on 40 count Fortnite fabrics in I Try is the name of the colorway, with the called for DMC, all one strand over 2 threads. Next up, you also had seen last time, I think, this was my August full coverage focus. It's called, this is in a bag by Lynn X Stitch Creates from when she was doing the quarterly bags. This is called the Haberdashery Shop. I'll put a picture of what it will look like when it's finished here. This is a pattern by Doreen Jones. I am doing this on, gotta find the right place, because when I started it originally, I accidentally started at the top of the pattern on the bottom of the fabric, and I had to restart. I'm doing this on 20 count Ada Easy Grid with called for DMC. And here's where it stands. I did another 987 stitches since you last saw this. I started this in February of this year at the Barefoot Needle Art Retreat. And then as I mentioned, I got home and realized that I had started at the top of the pattern on the bottom of the fabric. So I had to restart up here. And so I won't use all this, so I'll probably just cut that off and throw it away. Rather, I wasn't going to pick it out. And I didn't mention, I know I did mention the Haunted Library started in July. I'm trying to remember to tell you kind of when I started stuff and about how many stitches I've done since the last time you saw it. Let me put this away so I don't forget. Okay, September whip goes. I am still in the progress of, but I have done some work on both of them. Excuse me. The first one is in this bag that I got. I think this one came out of a Be Stitch Me box. So I can't remember. I don't want to lose my... I can't remember who makes her bags for the Be Stitch Me boxes. This is Away We Ride by Blackbird Designs. Hopefully there's not too much gear from that plastic. I started this on July 3rd of last year. I am doing my own fancy floss conversion for this. One, I did not have all fancy flosses, and at the time I didn't want to order them. Two, I'm turning this a little more grayish, bluish. There's still some brown in it, but so I'm doing this on 36 count Forbidden Fiber Co. Dovetail. This is what it looked like the last time you saw it. And here is what it looks like now. So, I don't know if you can tell that, like, this is like a corn. This is blue corn from, I think, Classic Colorworks. So the pattern is written so that you do a couple of these in one color and the flower buds are in a different color. But then a little bit further down, with the color that you use for the flower bud here is the vine, and the color you use for the vine here is the flower bud. I'm not doing that. I'm doing the vine all in one color. And then I'm doing all the flower buds, the little blue, in the kind of the blue. I've changed this border to a different kind of blue. There's a couple places I'm like, this is not the called for, but it's a similar. So I'm keeping, like, the oranges are going to be the same. Some of the browns, when you get down to the house, are going to be the same. But I'm doing kind of my own conversion. And, like, you can see my crazy notes for, like, this one symbol. I'm using, like, 5 different flosses, but depending on where it is. So, you know, that symbol is used in several different places, but I'm using one thing for the flower buds, one for it's some part in the house. That's also the symbol for the words, but I'm using a different floss for that. So I'm just kind of, honestly, I've pulled all these flosses and I'm kind of winging it as I go. So some of them, I would say all of these are not necessarily the called for, but very close to what the called for was. These blues and so Spooky by A Wicked Stepmother is what I'm using for that vine around the border. Blue Corn from Classic Colorworks is what I'm using for the flower buds on the border. And then Blacksmith Blue from Classic Colorworks is what I'm using for that zigzag border. And then Hey Jude by Wicked Stepmother, which is kind of like a gray and brown blend, is what I'm using for the letters, except for like the A, which was charted in a different one. I'm doing, I think I did the Blacksmith Blue or the Blue Corn, I think. So anyway, it's one of those where I'm just like, as I get to a motif or something, I'm figuring out what colors I'm using. I am, though, I think I realized I have 2 skeins of the Spooky. But I'm doing this 2 over 2. So the Spooky is what I'm doing this vine out of, and it goes all the way around. So I think from here on, what I'm going to start doing mostly is I'm going to try to get that border vine, just the vine at least. And I want to get it as far around as I can with 1 skein to make sure I'm going to have enough with the 2 skeins I have, if that makes sense. Now her skeins are 8.5 yards. So I'm pretty sure I've got enough, but I just want to be sure because she dies in batches and doesn't always repeat. So if I think I'm going to go around in one direction. So if I realize I'm not going to have enough, that I can do the second half in the other direction and something different and at least kind of look on purpose. Hopefully that makes sense. Whoops, let me put that back in there. Don't want to lose my little cheat sheet that tells me what's what. So that is one of my first whip go call for September. I've done 5 hours on that so far, and I've done 1,480 stitches. My second whip go call is in this brass button bag with bee skips on it. This is Cardinal Points, which is a pattern that was done by Long Dog Samplers for General Arch threads. I don't know that you can find this anymore. When I found it last year, I really had to hunt, and I found, I think it was Traditional Stitches, which is, I think, in Canada, wherever they are. Traditional Stitches, I think, was the one that still had the pattern, but I can't tell you if they do now. So, I am doing this in all of the called for General Arch threads. Like I said, it was designed by Long Dog for General Arch threads. This is what it looked like the last time you saw it. I've worked only about 2.5 hours on this so far for a total of 555 stitches. This time I've worked on it, and this is where I've gotten. So I've got about 7.5 more hours to do on that. I'm going to start working down. This is all the first page, so I'm going to start working down in here when I pick it up again. I started this on March 8th of 2022. And then my full coverage focus for September is in this Lynx Stitch Creates Christmas bag. I think this is one I just bought from her, just online. This is the Dark Tower, which will look like this when it's finished. This is a full coverage piece by, I don't know how to pronounce it, LKA Cross is a Russian designer. And she has both a website and she had an Etsy, but I haven't looked recently to see if it's available or not. I started this on February 26th of this year. This is what it looked like the last time you saw it. And I've done 640 stitches since you last saw it. Mainly I did a little bit more here, but then I started outlining Roland. So this is basically, I'm going to do this outline so I can just fill in all that black without really having to look at the chart. And if you, the picture showed, this is not his entire arm. There's a lot of like shades of gray around the black, so the black part kind of looks weird and skinny, but eventually it looks like a whole person. So okay, a couple other whips that I worked on since I last talked to you. This is in a excuse me, a brass button bag with boxes on it. This is Good Company by Plum Street, which will look like this. I have a kit that I got from, I think it was Acorns and Threads, that had this exclusively as a kit for about a year, so I bought it when it was a kit. This is where it was the last time you saw it. This is my current whip, excuse me, that is kind of a work on till I finish it, you know, as I have time. And I worked on this a little bit, I think in August. This was my birthday start in 2022, so October 6, 2022. And I did about 575 more stitches on it the one time I worked on it. So I got the house finished. I got the little, I think I had already done the little bird on top. And I did a little bit more of the grass and started that vine up with that big flower next to the house. So I was trying to, I got the grass finished outlined so that I can just fill that in as I go. And that is still on the Q-snap because I need to pull it out and work on it some. And then this is another project bag that I made since I last showed you. And in this is Summer Quaker, which I showed you last time was a new start. It will look like this when it's finished. I started this on August 1st as part of the hashtag Live in the Sunshine Sal with Huga Stitcher. I can never say that word. And I'm drawing a blank on her real name right now. But, excuse me, this is what it looked like the last time you saw it. And I did do another 527 stitches since I last showed it to you. So, still up in the top left corner. I got this motif right here finished. And a couple little small motifs in there. So, not much, but just a little bit more. Oh, this is on... I didn't tell you that Good Company was on 36 count vintage country mocha. But this is on 40 count Barefoot Needle Arts Sea Mist. I'm realizing I didn't tell you a couple of fabrics, but below is a link to my cross-stitch whip spreadsheet on Google Drive, that if you have any questions about what fabric I'm using that I don't mention or floss, most of the details should be on that. If not, feel free to leave me a comment or message me and ask. Okay, so now we're to the new starts, of which there are quite a few. I went a little bit crazy end of August, early this month. Excuse me. The first one I am blaming on Nancy, the Disorderly Stitcher. This is in a Scrabble bag by Gamma's Treasures, just because it was a bag I had. As you'll see, I have several of these in those kind of mesh bags from Amazon, so I need more project bags. This is the Equality Sampler by Plum Street. I have the Equality Sampler. I have there's 2 or 3 of these that she's got. There's one that she did as a exclusive for somebody that is not released to the public yet that I want to get as soon as it comes out, but I can't remember the names of the other ones. One is like a new constellation or something like that. Anyway, this is the Equality Sampler. Nancy, the Disorderly Stitcher, was doing this as a start along with somebody who I don't remember. I'm sorry. So I couldn't resist, and I've started. I am doing this on 36 count Color and Cotton Cottage Stone. I'm trying to figure out which way it goes here. With the called for floss, except I kitted this up from Stash, and I actually had all the floss except for I did not have oilcloth or Oscar, so I pulled other fancy flosses out of my stash that were of similar colors. So this is as far as I've gotten. I did 958 stitches. And that flower, got that flower totally finished. That flower has a lot of stitches in it. So, that was new start number 1. I started that on August 19th. So I think that was the day after I last recorded. Sorry, kinda. And then my, whoops, no, that's not the next one. This is the next one. The next one is in a little blue, what is this called? Blue something. Blue Q bag. This was something I started on the trip to Waco because it's easy and portable. I'm trying to find the actual stitching. There it goes. Sorry, everything's kind of gotten staticky and stuck in here. So this is Graveyard Pumpkin by Mill Hill. I tend to like to always have a little Mill Hill going because they're just easy and portable to pick up and carry around. And this is where I've gotten to. So this is 523 stitches. And I got some of that done on the plane on the way out. A little bit done while I was there. A little bit on the plane on the way back. You know, just a little bit here and there. Next up is in the bag that I never can remember who made it. You'd think at this point I would have gotten it stuck in my head, but it just won't stay. So I'm sorry. I don't know who it was. This is Scary Sampler by Heartstring Samplery. This is a really cool, I am not a sampler stitcher. This is my kind of sampler. There's a lot of pop culture references in here. The flowers around the border are actually demigorgons from Stranger Things. You see the weeping angel in the yard. There's somewhere right there goes the like thing from Beetlejuice. I can't remember all this. There's a thing inside that tells you what all the stuff is, and I can't remember all of them. So there's the Death Star is up here from Star Wars, you know, all kinds of crazy stuff. Anyway, so I started this as a start along with Sarah Memphis E. and some other people that I don't remember. She's the one that I heard about it from. I am doing this on 40 count Bestitch Me Mocha. I decided to start this one in the middle because I did not want to get stuck on that border. So I decided to start in the middle because that way I could then work out to whatever direction I wanted to go. So it's a little bit of the tree, a little bit of the house. I'm doing this with all the called for. I originally did not have the Gentle Arts Raven, so I had pulled Week Style Works mascara. But I've only done a little bit of that color, so I do now have Raven, so I may substitute Raven for some of it. And that's as far as I've gotten. That is 634 stitches. So I started the tree that's next to the house. That was where the middle was. And then I've started a little bit of the house. And, but so I decided to start in the middle so I could kind of move around as I want to. Move out to various directions depending on what I feel like working on at the time. And I started that on September 1st. I think I said that, but I'm not sure. Labor Day weekend was like Friday the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th. So I started something pretty much every day. This project bag is made by Sherry So Sweet. Really love this one. This is Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. Yes, I'm already doing Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow, and at one point I swore I was going to finish that before I started another Hawk Run, but I lied. I just love this one too much, and I had to get it started. So, I started this on September 2nd. Worked on it a good bit that whole Saturday. And then I did work on it again a little bit this past Thursday night because I do a Hawk Run Hollow Zoom with Pam from Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. I'm trying to figure out which way's up. I am doing this on 40 count fiber on a whim Heather 1/2. And so far, this is what I've done on the first block. I have done 1,510 stitches so far. So that's probably a little bit better representative color-wise. And this is a fat half of fabric. It will not quite take up all of it, but it will take up a chunk of it, which is one of the reasons I'm doing my Christmas at Hawk Run on 27 count even weave 1/1 because I didn't want it to be so giant. This one I'm actually okay with it being bigger. So, but I still did do 40 count because I didn't want it to be, you know, gigantic. It's gonna be big enough as it is. Next new start. If you know me at all, and this is one that's in one of these cheapo bags. If you know me at all, you know that there was no way on earth I was going to resist a Schoolhouse Rock sale. So the Black Needle Society is doing a stitch along that is Schoolhouse Rock themed. This is a little different. Unlike I don't usually do their boxes and stuff. Well, there's a huge wait list for it, but a lot of their stitch alongs are based on getting their box, like their Harry Potter and stuff. But this one is different. Laura, so Black Needle Society is a mother-daughter, Katie and Laura, and I was able to get to know them a little bit. Last year at StitchCon in 2022, they were at my table. So Laura works at a school that is a relatively low, most of the students are relatively low income. And so what they did is the payment for this stitch along for the pattern was to order something off of the Amazon wish list that they created for the school and send the receipt to them. So, and there was stuff on the wish list from, $5 to a lot more than $5. It was your choice, no minimum other than order something. And I think they may have even had something like if you really couldn't afford it, you could let them know or something, but I'm able to afford it. So I just ordered something off the list. Anyway, so they released part 2 yesterday, which I have not stitched. So I'll show you a picture of what it will look like once part 2 is finished. I may also I'll throw in also the picture that has the little hints of what they're doing, because there's going to be a bill, and that was, my thing. If you know me, I'm Just a Bill, but I love Schoolhouse Rock. I grew up on it, but I'm Just a Bill's my favorite, of course, because I work for a legislature. So, anyway, I have finished part 1, but I have not started part 2 yet, which just came out yesterday because I was at the ball game all day. So, this is part 1. I am doing this on 36 count Be Stitch Me in Ocean Blue, which I think is a little bit darker blue, but then the one that I think they had Needle Bling do a special color for it, but I had this, so I decided to try to do this from Stash. It's all DMC, and I had all the DMC. So that is 2,671 stitches, which was part 1. Part 2 is about 1,500 stitches. So they gave you 2 weeks for part 1. So I think this was the biggest one. And then the rest of them are coming out a week at a time over like 7 or 8 weeks, I think. I am going to try to stay mostly up with that. I don't know, given what I think my work schedule is going to be like the next couple weeks, that I'll be completely up with it, but I'm hoping to not get too far behind. Okay, next start was Labor Day, Monday, the 4th of September. This is in another bag by Gamma's Treasures with sock Mickeys on it. I have a digital copy of this pattern, so I will put a picture of it. It is Happy Campers by the Blue Flower. Put a picture up here of what it will look like. And I am doing this on 40 count Bestitch Me even weave. This is something I got from Friday Night Fight Night, so I'm not sure. I don't think it was just labeled even weave, not Lugana, so I'm not sure what kind of even weave it is, but and I'm doing this with all the called for floss, and I have done 537 stitches. So top left corner. Just getting, when I start a project, I like to try to get several colors in, just to, one, make sure my colors are looking okay on the fabric I've chosen, and two, just to not have the monotony of the same color over and over again. So that was Labor Day Monday. Oh, they're okay. I was thinking there was 2 more, but I only had 1 over here, and I know why. So next new start was my, again, in a plastic bag. This is April Quaker by From the Heart Needle Art, which I started on September 9th. I am doing 7 on the 8th for Julia. So I used to start on the 8th, but I can't remember what was going on the 8th. For some reason I didn't get it started on the 8th. I didn't get started till the 9th. I don't even know what day of the week the 8th was. I don't know. Anyway, this is April Quaker. I'm doing it on 40 count Barefoot Needle Art Sandy Toes with called for Classic Colorworks. It's kind of the colors are not, let me see if I show you the flosses, if you can see the colors better. They're kind of like, well, messy floss. So the darker one is kind of is St. Bernard, which is kind of a musky green. I don't know the right name for that. And then the Olive Branch has got greenish, and then the orangey coral is Goldfish. So working on that, I have done 895 stitches on that, and I will try to get that finished this month. I don't know what it is about September being 30 days instead of 31. It seems to fly for some reason. It's only one less day, but for some reason it seems to have flown. And the last new start, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's new start number 8. Is a stitch along with Helen from Helen D. She has a floss tube. And the Cobweb Corner. I can't remember her name. I'm sorry. This is, I'll show you a picture of what it looks like. Freaky Fair Isle. I'll put a picture here of what it will look like when it's finished. By Pedal Pusher. And it's on black perforated paper. I just started this last night after I got home from the game, and I didn't get home from the game till like almost 9 o'clock. So I haven't done, only done 177 stitches. Trying to look for something better to put behind it, so you can see. This is done with Weeks Dye Works Ultraviolet. Got 2 skeins of that because it's 3 strands on the perforated paper. And that's as far as I got last night, which, like I said, is 177 stitches. So started that last night. Hopefully that won't take too long. And that is it for Quarters in Session. On the docket, like I said, it's the 17th. There's only 13 more days. I know that this week and probably next week at work are going to be crazy, which means I will probably be working late. And when I work late, I don't usually get anything done. So I mean, I get home not only late, but even if I get home at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, I don't feel like doing anything. So, and I say if I get home at 9 or 10, I don't usually go to bed till like 1 o'clock in the morning. So, but my prime stitching time is usually like 7 to 10 or 11. And then after that, I'm like reading or relaxing or whatever. But anyway, so it's possible that like this week, there might be 2 or 3 days that I will do nothing craft wise. But, so my primary goals for the rest of September are to finish the 5 more hours on a wavy ride, about 7.5 more hours on cardinal points, and I would like to get to a total of 2,000 stitches on Dark Tower, which is like another 1,400 stitches or so. Like I said, I'd like to try to stay mostly up with the Schoolhouse Rock sale, so I don't get too far behind. I also would ideally like to finish April Quaker before the end of the month, or at least by October 8th, when I'm supposed to start May Quaker, which I will start on October 8th, but hopefully I will have finished April Quaker by then. So that is it for On the Docket, and now we will move to stashing for retirement. Okay, stashing for retirement. I have a couple things that are like regular subscriptions and then some other stuff. But, so first of all, regular subscriptions, I get Classic Colorworks floss from Stitch New England. This was I think this is September. Yeah, this is September. Where they do them alphabetically. So the last of the M's into the O's and into P's. Get 10 flosses, and then I also get Weeks Dye Works from them. That's in the I's. Moving into the J's. And then I get MPI, which is 5 in the numbered. These are in the antique brown range. And then 1 of the Northern Lights, which is that purpley one that's in there. Sorry for the glare, but I leave those usually in the bag. So, and then my August fabric of the month from Stitch New England is their fabric club is Atomic Ranch. I get 32 count on this one. This is Pompous Reed, which is just a nice neutral. That's probably pretty good. Also from Stitch New England, I ordered, so I get my Cottage Garden Snowman from there. This is number 9, the Pirate. And then I get whatever fancy floss that calls for. And I ordered some fabric from her and got a couple other patterns. I got Wee Santa 2023 and the Harvest Tiny Town from Heart and Hand. I also ordered Peace Tree and Believe. I really got this for this one back here on the back, Believe. I like the Peace Tree, but the Believe one is the one I really like. So, and then I also got some fabric from her. This is Fox and Rabbit Saltbush in a 32 count. I was thinking I might use this for Mirabia's Sleeping Beauty Princess, but I've got some other fabrics I'm going to show you that I think I'm going to use instead. I need to put that in there. And then I also got a 40 count Fox and Rabbit Beetroot that also came from Pam at Stitch New England. Trying to get that's just a really pretty, I don't know what I'll do on that. I just love the color. Then I got my August fabric from Bestitch Me. I've switched to 40 count on that. 40 count all neutral. I was doing 36 count alternating between neutral and color. But I've switched to 40 count all neutral. This is Lunar, which of course is right up my alley because it's like a bluish gray. With a tinge of greenish teal. Trying to see if I can get my, maybe, you see little hints of green. I use my phone to record, and for some reason my phone does not do blue-green. It turns it all completely blue. And then also I ordered from Bestitch Me. She had a special colorway for the Instagram challenge, not challenge, but the common threaded stitcher. That's what it was. This time they had a couple of like specials, and one of them was this color called One More Reproduction from Bestitch Me. So I ordered that in a 40 count. I think, yes, 40 count. Trying to decide, I just got the Google form to fill out if I want to do the Atomic Ranch with Pam at Stitch New England next year. And I'm trying to decide, given that I want to control my starts more. I know I want to belong to at least one fabric club. I'm thinking, I also am considering, I'm going to see, I've never used Grace Nose Fabrics, but they're going to be at the Queen City Stitch Retreat that I'm going to. So I'm going to get a chance to see their fabrics better. And I know they have a club. So I'm thinking I may limit, I'm going to keep Bestitch Me. So I only want one other club, and so I'm trying to decide what that's going to be. I love the Atomic Ranch fabrics, but I've never had the Grace Note, so I got to decide. Anyway, okay. What else? Let's just show you the random stuff I ordered, and then I'll show you the stuff I bought in Waco. Riverview Stitching had Laura's Fabrics, and for some reason I want to say that Laura's Fabrics is associated with them, but I'm not 100% sure. They were having, this was back in like August, I think. Yeah, early August. They had a sale, and I bought two. I bought both of these in 40 count. I bought Brain Fog. And I got A Storm's Coming, which is like, there, that's probably decent. Kind of a grayish blue. It's definitely more blue than gray, but I ordered the exclusive to Shakespeare's, to Kitten Stitcher, the collaboration between Plum Street and Shakespeare's Peddler, Stars and Stripes. Ordered that from Kitten Stitcher. I think this was 1, 2, 3 Stitch, because I was ordering something else. I don't know. Cricket Collection Winter and Cricket Collection Autumn. Autumn. Don't know why I said it that way. And I also got the Thread Gatherers silken colors for that one. And then Cobweb Corner had restocked her Gentle Arts, and she carries 10-yard skeins of Gentle Arts. So I bought, that's where I found the Raven that I needed for my Scary Sampler. And there was another floss I needed. Oh, there's my Night Walk Down. I reordered Pecan Pie, I think, to see. I was talking with Courtney of Stitches Please, and the Pecan Pie and the Polywog on that are supposed to go together on a leaf, but they really look very similar. So I reordered the bigger skein of Pecan Pie to see if it was much different. It's not really. So I may end up swapping a thread out on that. But anyway, I also ordered from her Jack's Bash by Plum Street, which there's a stitch along going on now with that. I know, I think Olivia from Pumpkin Hollow Quilts and some other people. I think it's Olivia that I first heard about. Anyway, I've always loved this pattern, just never bought it, but I went ahead and bought it, and I got all the Gentle Arts thread for it. So that's probably another new start before the end of the year. And then I mentioned to you last time, I showed you a couple of Alforce patterns that I had bought electronically, and I had ordered thread packs, and those finally got here from Russia. This is the thread for the Groningen sampler, which was the one I showed you that I said I'm not sure that I'm going to do that sampler, but I wanted to have a pattern to use with these threads. I don't know if you can see those blues. And that dark is really like a navy, and there's hints of purple in there too. So got that thread pack. I don't know if I will do that pattern with it, but I love the thread, and I just wanted to have a pattern to go with it. The black and red, the red and black sampler, which I am definitely going to do the sampler, and I got the thread pack for that. And I got it for the 40 count, 1 strand. The neat thing about the thread packs is you order the thread pack based on what kind of fabric you're planning to do the pattern on. So like I got the 40 count with 1 strand pack. If I had the blue one, since I didn't know, since that's kind of a smaller sampler and I didn't know what I'm going to do with it, I ordered the 32 or 36 with 2 strands so I would get more floss, so that I would have a little bit more leeway with the amount of floss. And this was the pack for the Wondrous Garden Custodians, and again I ordered that with the 40 count 1 strand because I will do that pattern and that's what I'll do it in. So and then Needleworks. So Needleworks was a smallish store size-wise, but they have a lot of stuff crammed in there. I enjoyed it. There was a few ladies there stitching, and you know, chatted with them some. Their system of patterns makes sense to me. It's just a little awkward to see some of it. They have it mostly in baskets by, sometimes by designer, sometimes by theme. It really just, they definitely have theme baskets. Like they have Christmas, they have Halloween, they have patriotic. But then like if they have a lot of charts from one designer, at least part of a basket will be just that designer. But if there's a Christmas pattern from that designer, it may be in the Christmas basket, at least as far as I can figure. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. The awkward thing is some of the baskets were down on the floor, and they said you can pick them up, you know, or whatever. That's fine, except that there's not really anywhere to pick them up and set them to look at them. So I ended up sitting. I don't mind sitting on the floor. It's just hard getting up from the floor sometimes these days. Anyway, the other interesting thing is they also had, the owner, I think, had bought a bunch of stuff from an estate that was a lot of sampler type patterns. So a lot of it wasn't my taste. And it was a mix of older stuff and some newer stuff. And I'm sure by the time I got to it, a lot of the best stuff had probably been picked over. But I did pick up a couple of things from that. I'll show you those first. So this one was a punch needle from heart to hand. But like the original price was $15. I paid $1 for it. So, and I didn't realize till later that this actually has the, what do you call it? The fabric. I can't think of what it's called. The monk's cloth. That's it. It actually has the monk's cloth for the pattern in it. And I can't remember if it has it already on it, stamped on it, or no, it just has the cloth in it. So anyway, got that from that estate sale. And then I also got this bright needle, Season Petites, that's just got, you know, winter, spring, summer, fall. You know, bright needles are all out of print as far as I understand it. Anyway, I paid $1 for that as well. So, and then regular, I had never heard of this designer. And when I went to go to the website that's on the front of this, the website doesn't exist anymore. It's not her anymore. And this says 2020 on it. So she may not design anymore. EJV Designs. This is called Halloween Eagle. Obviously that's a crow. It's called Halloween Eagle. And what it says, and it's hard to read on the picture, I am not a crow or a blackbird in a tree, nevermore a raven quoting Poe. I'm confident and regal, majestic and beautiful. I am a Halloween eagle. So anyway, I just really liked it. And I picked up the Classic Colorworks Bing Cherry that is the Halloween eagle, and the Threadworks that I think is the... They did have an excellent thread selection at Needleworks. Excellent thread selection. A lot of, you know, they had a good Karen Water Lily, Karen selection in general. The only thing they did not have is the Karen Snow I need for that needlepoint, kind of needlepoint I started a couple months ago. But I haven't been able to find that online either. So it's not their fault. You know, I'm not saying anything against them. So, anyway, and then I bought some fabric. So, I bought this. This is 40 count espresso from R&R. And I have kitted up over here. I'm going to start the Halloween sampler, Teresa Kogut, on October 1st with a stitch along that's going, start along for me that's going on. I bought this as a possibility for that. I've pulled another fabric that's let me see if I can reach that. I bought the, let's just go off on a side tangent here. So this is the pattern. Well, let's put it right side up. That's the pattern. And obviously it's done on a lighter thing. I bought this as a possibility for that. It's a little darker than the given. I have bought the Vicki Clayton silk conversion. And I've already put these on floss drops. Yes, I put my silks on floss drops. So that, is a possibility. But I had pulled this from Stash originally. And it's different, and I think it'll work, but I'm probably not going to know until I start stitching it. So I wanted to back up. So this is my plan. This is Fiber on a Whim Cypress. Let me see if I can get it. That's actually my plan for that Halloween sampler. And there's only one of these that I'm worried about. Let me see if I can figure out which one it is. I don't know. There's a couple like that one, but I think it's going to show up. I feel like there was another one that was kind of iffy, but anyway, since it's 40 count, and I'm going to be doing one strand, we'll see. But I'm going to start it on this, and we'll see how it looks, because I just like I think it will look more moody on this than on this, but I'm going to go ahead and put this in here just in case. So that's going to be a new start on October 1. Anyway, and then the other thing that I was looking for fabric for is I am starting at the Queen City Retreat. The two Mirabilias that I'm going to start are Nightingale, which I already have fabric for, and Sleeping Princess. And like I said, that other Fox and Rabbit I bought thinking maybe for Sleeping Princess, but I've got two other options I bought at Needleworks that are possibilities. So this is one possibility. This is 32 count Serene. I don't know who the dyer is. It doesn't say. It just says 30. Oh, Picture This Plus. There it is. I know they do put these nice little tags on there that tell you what cut size, because they'll cut to exact size, not just fat quarters. I got fat quarters because I'll use the extra, but they also put like what pattern you told them you thought you were going to use it for. So this is 32 count Serene, which is I'm trying to get, that's probably the best. Kind of a light minty green. That was originally my thought for Sleeping Princess. So I got that, but this is the one that she suggested that I think is probably going to be the winner. I've just got to get all the floss out and look. This is a, I think this is a, it's a printed one, and I think it's I can't think of the name of the company that does a lot of the printed ones, but it's Fairy Mist is the colorway. And I don't know if you can see that. Can you? I'm trying to get the best lighting situation, but it's not. Anyway, it's got light blues and some light yellow and green and pinkish, and so that's a possibility too. I'm going to pull out I haven't pulled out my floss yet because these have been sitting in my basket that I need to, to show on the floss tube. So, one of those two probably is going to be the Sleeping Princess that I start at Queen City Stitch Retreat. The only other So the only other two things that I've bought is online. I bought the May Quaker, which is the next Quaker series one. I will be starting October 8th. And then yesterday, day before, I don't know, the last couple of days, in the vein of let's start everything this year because we're not going to start everything next year. And somebody was working on this recently and really made me want to start it. And I can't, it will come to me maybe as I'm talking. Anyway, I ordered Let Freedom Ring from Leela Studio, and I got the PDF of it because that's my preference. So I'll put a picture here of what it will look like. I have bought that. Was it Jessie Marie Does Stuff was working on that? No. I can't remember. Somebody I watched in the last week or so was working on it, and I can't remember now who it was. Anyway, I bought the pattern. Excuse me. And I have ordered all the floss from 123 Stitch. And I have not yet. I did order a piece of fabric as a possibility, but I'm not. The 123 Stitches pictures are not very good. What I ordered was Picture This plus vellum, which I think will work, but I've never seen vellum in person, so I'm not exactly sure. So we'll see. If not, I will either see if I've got something in my stash, because I think I calculated a fat quarter will work if it is a 18 by 27 fat quarter. Because I'm going to do it on 40 count. But I think Picture This Plus is like 17 by 27. So one, I'm not sure if what I ordered is going to be quite big enough. I mean, it would be big enough for the design, but it would give me, well, I guess it would give me a 2.5 inch margin instead of a 3 inch margin. So we'll see. But I've got to see if it's actually, you know, how sometimes you get them and they're not quite what they say they are. So I need to see how big the actual piece of fabric is and if I like it. If not, then I may find something from Stash, or if not, you know, I'm going to 2 retreats in the next month that I can look for something there that will work. So anyway, so that's it for Stashing for Retirement. On the calendar, nothing new. I'm going to Queen City Retreat the weekend of October 5th through 7th, 8th. The weekend after that, I will be at Stitch New England Retreat in Foxborough, Massachusetts, is where the retreat's actually being held, which is real near to North Attleboro, Massachusetts, where Stitch New England, the shop is. That is hosted by Pam from Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. Queen City Retreat is hosted by Maggie, aka Kitty Whips, and Amy, Fiber Arts Amy, who has started dyeing her own fabric. Go take a look at Oak Crown Stitchery. I can't remember the exact, I will link it below. It's Oak Crown something. I can't remember if it's Oak Crown Designs, Oak Crown Stitching, Oak, whatever. But anyway, and then I will be at SAF, Southeastern Animal Fiber Fair in Fletcher, North Carolina, just out of Asheville, the weekend after that. I did want to show you, I ordered floss drops to take to all 3 retreats. And so the back of the floss drops look like this. They've got my full logo. That QR code takes you to my YouTube channel, has my Instagram handle, and then you just floss card name. And I made these specially. I'm calling those 3 weekends in a row. I will be 55 on October 6th. So I'm calling this my senior tour. So I made these up that just kind of look like a speed limit sign, but it says 2023 Senior Tour 55, and then has, you know, Queen City and Stitch New England and the 3 events that I'm going to. So those are the floss cards that I'll be giving out at Queen City and the Stitch New England retreat. Anyway, I think that's it. I hope that, hope that y'all, those of y'all up in the Northeast, are safe from all the rain you've had and the hurricane heading your way. I hope that there's not a lot of damage from Lee. My brother's name is Lee. So a week or so ago, when it was looking like it was going to hit North Carolina, I did like a family text, and I was like, well, we always knew Lee was a hurricane when he was a child. But so I've just been giving him hell, telling him to stop tearing stuff up. So far, he hasn't torn anything up. We'll see. Let's hope that it's veers off and doesn't cause a lot of damage up there. But I hope everyone's staying safe, healthy, not coughing like me. COVID seems to be on the rise again, but let's hope we can all avoid it this time. So anyway, take care, y'all, and I will hopefully, I'm hoping to come in again in 2 weeks, the weekend before I leave for all my trips, or at least sometime before I leave, just to do another quick update with what I've got to kind of clean the slates before I go off on my senior tour and everything I buy and do or do not stitch on. So, but we'll see how it goes. A lot of that depends on work and how tired I am. So, talk to you later. Bye, y'all.